This is the story of how I sold my music documentary to Outside TV. There's a lot to cover here, so I'm going to break it down into 3 parts: the exposition, the development, and the resolution. Let's dive in. So to lay it all out there, I am an adventure filmmaker and adventure photographer. So if you're curious, why is Rue, adventure filmmaker, talking about creating a music documentary? This was a passion project I had a couple of years ago. I love music. I'm a musician myself. I've been songwriting for years. I love the music culture and music industry and wanted to kind of try my hand at telling an interesting story in the music industry that could still pair with a lot of adventure and outdoor athletics, because I think there's a lot of overlap between the grit it takes in the music industry and some of the perseverance it takes to make it as an athlete. So that was the premise for beginning a music documentary. I had heard on a podcast about Ryan Kinder. Ryan Kinder is a musician based out of Nashville who was training to do the IRONMAN World Championship in Kona, Hawaii in 2022. So in 2021, I reached out to him and asked to see if he wanted to collaborate and make a documentary together. After meeting each other both on the phone and then in person in Nashville, he decided that, hey, yeah, Rue seems like a cool dude, let's see what happens and let's make something. I will go more in depth on the behind the scenes of this documentary in 2 weeks, so subscribe because I have new videos coming every Wednesday. This is the video this Wednesday. Next Wednesday will be the film itself, and the following Wednesday I'll break down how I made it so you can get a full understanding of how this project came to be. But you're probably here wondering how I sold this to Outside TV and how maybe you can sell a documentary of yours to a network down the line as well. So let's dive into that process. In order to even get to the point of selling a documentary to Outside TV, I actually have to take it back a little bit farther to the Goat Surf Club. The Goat Surf Club is a documentary series I made with my 2 best friends about getting trapped in Morocco. I've mentioned this project in other videos and it is available here on YouTube if you want to watch it for yourself, but this started to introduce my work to a lot of potential clients because it was kind of just an incredible situation that happened. The borders closed to Morocco because of COVID. There were no ingoing or outgoing flights. So we were fully stuck on a surf trip, 2 best friends, empty waves in Morocco. It was kind of an amazing experience. And I brought my camera to do some commercial projects there, and we ended up making this mini documentary series about it that Outside TV decided to share. Initially getting introduced to Outside TV through this project wasn't even any glamorous, cool story. I literally went online and found an email to their pitch department and pitched them the story of us getting trapped in Morocco. And they saw it, were excited about it, and shared it online. It sounds really simple, and it was really simple. I think at the time I was really shocked at just how simple it all felt. And once we had gotten the film on Outside, we started talking to them more about Goat Surf Club projects and what we were going to do down the line. Because my 2 best friends work as scientists and environmental advocates, and I'm very passionate about saving the environment as well, we decided to take this project and sort of morph it a little bit, where we go on surf trips and connect with environmentalists all over the world and share their stories and share positive, uplifting stories about environmental work that's being done all over the place. So we surf and we talk about the environment, showcase positive, uplifting stories in a lighthearted way. And Outside TV was excited about that premise and carried over into our 2nd season of Goat Surf Club, where we went to Ireland and connected with some amazing nonprofits there. You can check out that video here on YouTube as well. And they shared our 2nd season. So at this point, Outside TV and I had started to build a sort of relationship where they knew who I was and I obviously knew who they are, because I've been reading Outside Magazine and watching Outside TV for my entire life. So at this point, it's May 2022, and I had been working with Outside TV twice, both with the season 1 of Goat Surf Club with getting trapped in Morocco, and then on our Ireland series. And I had already also been filming this Ryan Kinder documentary in between those 2 trips. So I had some footage to show. We had filmed in Montreal at a recording studio, and things were starting to develop about where this project was going to live once it was done. When it comes to making documentaries, this is kind of the big question with distribution, is where and how are people going to see this? I hadn't put much thought into distribution in my past films. I sort of just published them here on YouTube, and if they got 50 views, I was like, sweet, well, hopefully somebody saw it, and it lived on my website, and it was part of my portfolio, and I just kind of went on with my life and was proud of the work I created, but didn't really care about marketing it too much and didn't care about how many views it got. With this Ryan Kinder project, I was putting so much of my time and energy and passion into this project. I really wanted people to see it because I was really proud of it. And Ryan Kinder was going through this whole crazy experience, which you can see in the documentary. And I wanted people to see this film. I wanted it to end up somewhere that didn't just go to YouTube and kind of fizzle away and nobody ever saw it. So I started chatting with Outside TV about distribution opportunities. We were about halfway done with the film, so I gave them a little teaser and kept filming the project. Outside was interested in the premise. A professional musician, used to be signed to Warner Music, now recording his second full-length country rock album while continuing to train for the IRONMAN World Championship, which takes a lot of time and energy in order to complete. So they were interested in the idea, but wanted to see a more fleshed out version of the project before agreeing or disagreeing to distributing it. So we kept on filming. Thankfully, everything worked out because Outside was able to sign our project in a non-exclusive deal, which meant that we could have the film, finished film, initially distributed on Outside, but continue to submit to film festivals and show it here on YouTube and have its own life outside of what happens on Outside TV's network. This is sort of the best case scenario because we feel like we can get as much eyes on it as possible by showing it through Outside's platform, providing value to Outside's platform, while continuing to raise additional support for the documentary by touring it at a few film festivals and doing other parts of the filmmaking process after a film is completed to help elevate the film and bring more eyes to it. Which meant, at the end of it all, I sold a documentary to Outside TV about music. And what I learned in this process, and we can call this part the resolution, is less about the nitty-gritty details of what it takes to sell a film to a network, but more about the filmmaking process of being patient and treating people kindly and knowing that relationships is ultimately what this industry comes down to. And if you are able to make good work, for sure, that's an important part of being a successful filmmaker, but also being really honest and transparent on every sort of situation that you're going through and communicating through these sorts of processes with integrity can allow a film to succeed when it doesn't seem likely that it would. Filmmaking can be really tough. There's a lot of highs and lows in this process, both for the people in front of the camera, but definitely for us filmmakers behind the camera, because so much passion and time and energy goes into these projects. And sometimes the financial risks pay off and sometimes they don't. The Goat Surf Club is a great example. We have made 3 seasons of the Goat Surf Club and financially it just does not make sense to continue doing them. But for us, the Goat Surf Club isn't about the financial rewards that we may receive from telling these sorts of stories all over the world. For us, the benefits are in the experiences we have, the people we meet, and the stories that we feel so proud we get to share. And Keep Up feels the same way. After a 1.5 years of working on this project, editing it, re-editing it, hiring my friend to edit it, helping him edit it, directing the edit, filming in 5 different states, and filming through all these different disciplines of music videos, basically lighting things in the studio, to swimming in Hawaii, to running in the freezing cold in Montreal. I didn't make money from this project, even though I sold the film and it was a total success. About as successful as it could have been for the scale of the project that we are operating on. If I were to tally out my hours, I definitely lost money on this project. But I think that's okay, because for me, it was about sharing these stories, and at the end of the day, Ryan Kinder is now one of my best friends in the entire world. We talk on the phone almost daily still, 2 years after the documentary was completed. So if nothing else, I got an amazing friendship out of this, but it is pretty fun to log onto the computer and still see my film on Outside TV.